What's going on with this Silk Road?
There was a argument about who had the right to sell this coin or not, because some of the Silk Road money was tied up in court. So they finally got the okay and the permission that the United States is the rightful owner and has the rightful right to get rid of that coin. Doesn't mean they're going to, right? It just means they
Right.
legally have the right to do it where they didn't before. So now the question is, are the Dems going to be petty enough to sell it, knowing that Trump has a
Yes.
plan to put it in the SPR, whatever. And then we hedge against it by knowing, okay, there was $50 billion in trading volume, and we were at 10% reduced trading volume, 50 billion, 6.5 billion on market. With the current trading volume and the current sentiment, could probably drop us to like 85K.
It's only 6.5?
6.5 billion, yeah. That's from the
I
Silk
thought it was
Road.
way more than that.
That's from the Silk Road asset specifically.
What are your predictions? Do you think they're going to get rid of it?
I don't think they'll do it. I don't know. I kind of feel like it would be political suicide in a way, because it's not just Republicans that hold. Yeah, I'm so tired of everybody trying to make this a right or left thing when it comes to crypto. Like, we're all holding crypto, mid, left, right, center, whatever. So I don't know. I think it would be such an obvious sort of childish, petty move. There'd be no really good way to explain it. When we were talking about it originally, I said this when he first came up with the plan. I was like, well, there goes the reserve. They're going to dump it if he wins right before. But I think that the issue is it's too many people that are sort of invested in it working out. And not just like government, but big money. BlackRock isn't really somebody that you play with like that all willy-nilly, right? That's the boogeyman
Right.
that when the phone rings, you answer, no matter what side you're on. So I don't know. We'll see. Either way, it'll get absorbed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Silk Road. We hear about it all the time.
This has been over our head for a decade.
Yeah.
We're getting all of these things like lifted, which is amazing, right? Anybody that's been here for a while, like, how long have you had to worry about this Silk Road Bitcoin?
But did they sell it or not in the end? I don't know.
The thing is that we won't know, right? The news was official in December. The news didn't get released until now. If they did sell, we'd have to look for it on the chart, because they're not going to put out a press release. You won't hear about it for another couple months. We can go on Arkham, but the thing is, I don't believe that the Silk Road Bitcoin is held in their Arkham wallet. Let me check. We have the technology, right? We don't have to sit here and guess.
Not too sure how loud my mic is, but the Silk Road seized Bitcoin, or any US government, FBI, CIA, whatever, Bitcoin is always stored with Coinbase custody.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
So
make
the
sure I
way
have the specific wallet here. Hold on.
I
Yeah.
have all 5 wallets linked. I can get it and post it in Discord here.
Yeah, you could do that. I'll double check it with the dashboard here.
Yes, if you just search US Gov, and then there's 5 wallets on Arkham.
All right.
One like Shane, the 37 others for not like UD.
No way they just dump that stuff on market, though, right? They'll probably try and maybe at least strategically sell it. I mean,
I don't know. It seems like it'd be a bit of like suicide, political. I mean, who cares? It's a big, like I said, it's all going to come down to how petty they are. The way that I assumed that it would happen was there would be some sort of big program that came out, and they would say that they're funding it with the seized Bitcoin, and then that would sort of, you know what I mean? That would sort of lessen the blow.
Yeah, there's going to be a PR thing.
Yeah.
It softens the blow if they do sell it.
We're gonna some school kid plan or just something, you know, we're gonna add some money. We're gonna take it and put it in Social Security. Whatever. They'll have a reason. They will have a reason for it.
Well,
1.8. So you're saying that this is because I know they don't have it commingled.
are people sending
So
money
this-
to that wallet?
So there's Ross Ulbricht's, I think, specific wallet, and then there's 4 US government wallets. Was the US government DOJ seized. So what I've done is I've put alerts on those wallets.
Yeah.
And you get I don't know if it's just fees or you get like the odd alerts every now and again on them, like pittance of Bitcoin, pennies to the Bitcoin that like some fee transaction of some
Custodial,
sort.
yeah, custodial fees probably.
Yeah. So from what I've seen and what I've spoken to a few friends who are blockchain sleuths, and they were saying that yeah, it's definitely on Coinbase custody.
Mm-hmm.
Or the bulk of kind of all the seized US stuff is on Coinbase custody.
That's why I always laugh at all this Coinbase SEC bullshit with their political theater. Like, there's so
They're
many.
doing them a favor, you know.
Yeah, and there's so many SEC. There's ex-SEC on Coinbase board. The whole USDC circle thing. We know the plan, guys. We know that's a test run on a digital dollar. We know that this whole like controlled opposition shit is fake. If you just ignore what they say and look at what they do, look at where all the money ended up. Look at where all the ETFs got custody. Look at where the US custodies. Like, come on.
It's okay, Dbloc. We've got rid of Gensler now.
Oh,
you don't need
man.
PTSD.
Oh.
That guy's gone.
Oh, that's gonna be a
Did you
day to watch him walk out of the office, man. I hope they make a big show of it too. Hope it's like Game of Thrones. Everybody's just standing on the corners of the street throwing tomatoes at him. Shame, shame, shame.
There was someone now as well recently that resigned. Maybe it was a federal speaker
what?
or someone also, apart from Gensler,
Trudeau.
was also kind of
What?
anti-crypto.
Yeah, all the
He's gonna replace Gary, and he's gonna do the bad job, and we'll feel the same about.
you can't
the
do
new
worse than Gary. I don't care. You can't do. Just go in there and
course
do what
they'll
you cannot do worse than Gary.
Nah, that dude's
We'll manage
Skeletor,
to
man.
do
You
worse.
can't do
They'll be
worse than
hacked
Gary,
again.
bro.
It'll be a fun story again.
You cannot do worse than that, man. Good riddance. I've never seen somebody so inept at their job. But yeah, if you go and you look at everybody that was involved in Operation Choke Point 2.0, all the heads, they're all resigning. They know they're coming into an unfavorable environment.
Well, that's FUD. We got some FUD. That news is I have friends freaking out about it. I don't think it's too serious at all.
This is the thing, though. Some of us with more experience. This is my second cycle. You've kind of see this coming, and Dbloc's been explaining it quite simply. That you see it coming always at a low or close to a bottom or close to a top. You see these type of these news releases, FUD, or whatever the stories may be, depending on the spectrum of psychology. Obviously, either the fear or the euphoria, right? So, nothing burgers.
They're leveraging your emotions.
Yeah, exactly. But it comes with a bit more experience and time in the market to understand how these things work and why they do it. And
Yeah, and
how
there's
they do
real,
it.
and people have real money, and it's a natural
Mm.
reaction to see some shit like this and say, holy, you know, like this is serious. Like, okay, it's happened before and all that, but it's never happened to you. And it's real money that you're sitting on. You know, it's not natural to have a robotic reaction to this. Like, this is PTSD showing itself, guys. This calm demeanor is just, yeah, PTSD. You've been through it. So
Guys in our group were saying, "Oh, how are you so calm?" It's like nothing burger. you get used to it. Obviously, the more panic you've been through, the more you kind of get numb to it, which is probably my case. Like we obviously have some, like most
Well,
crypto groups, right? They'll have the newbies come in
Poly
and they
market
get a
is
bit.
saying there's a 25% chance they sell before inauguration. Sorry, go ahead.
Where was that? This
That's
is
pretty.
just coming up on
That's
X.
that's
with all
pretty
these
accurate,
different.
bro. That'd be about where I'm at. That's close to where I'm at. About 25% chance.
Yeah, before the news, it was about 3%, 4%, and it jumped up once the news came out. It's good to have these numbers. Like, it's actually pretty helpful.
It's gonna get a little convoluted though, right? Because what's gonna happen is that degens on Polymarket are gonna hedge against the drop
Yeah,
by laying heavy. So those numbers are gonna get skewed soon if it does start to drop.
I don't know if they're that smart though, but yeah, it's a possibility.
You saw it with the election, right? Like right at the end of the election when it was getting close, Kamala's numbers started going up on Polymarket. And it wasn't like people really thought that she would win, it's that people were hedging. They were hedging against their Trump bets just in case.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, there's some contemporary theory out as well that the wallets have already been like already sold. So basically, they're gonna sell the wallets and sell the keys directly, kind of like an OTC deal.
Yep.
But that's already been kind of brokered, but the actual final payments haven't come through. So
The
there's
same way that BlackRock made OTC deals with the miners. There's a reason that the miners stopped selling when they stopped selling. They just found a buyer, you know, a
BlackRock
big
are
buyer.
buying from they're buying from Marathon, they're buying from CleanSpark.
They're buying from them and buying them. You know,
The
BlackRock owns a little piece
BlackRock
of
invested
everything.
a fat packet into Marathon. I know that.
Yeah.
No, that's a sure fact.
Think of what a benefit that is as a mining company, right? You're used to having to scramble during every halving to retool, making sure that you get your Bitcoin sold off in time so you can get double the amount of
You know what?
of infrastructure,
Kind of
and that's
these
like
these
automatically
mining.
just guaranteed with BlackRock. Easy
Yeah,
business.
it's all drip feeding as well because I've got a friend in El Paso, Texas, and there was like an independent Bitcoin miner, and I think either CleanSpark or one of these other, obviously a bigger mining company, is now acquiring. So yeah, it's like a race to the bottom at the moment.
You get gobbled up,
They
man.
just
These
going,
little guys always
yeah,
get gobbled up.
one I'll kind of say one of the biggest independent Bitcoin miners in El Paso just got bought up recently, acquired or whatever it is. I don't know how the terminology works, but yeah, they got acquired by it's either CleanSpark or one of the other ones, but a small-ish. But obviously, they scale up, right? And this is the thing. And obviously, I don't know what the theory was initially as well with Sailor, because I thought MSTR were also trying to do OTC through the miners as well. But you obviously have the big market makers or kind of liquidity providers like Cumberland, Flow Traders, and all of that. You could see on the Arkham wallets how they now also providing liquidity and Bitcoin to the ETFs.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to acquire a mining company and get their equipment at pennies on the dollar than have to retool at cost. And a lot of these smaller mining companies, if they can't find someone to sell off to, they're pivoting to AI and deepen projects where they're providing, computational power at a cost.
Yeah, this GPU thing is a big thing at the moment, specifically if they not really making enough on the Bitcoin side.
And
The
you don't
pivot
have
to
to
GPU.
scale so aggressively every 4 years. Like that's an aggressive scaling to double up, to retool at a double up rate every 4 years. Like you've got to be on top of your shit.
It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely some memes are getting wrecked. Goat got hit nasty. It's all about mindshare. If your meme hasn't been able to hold mindshare through all of this, you've got to be really careful, guys. And by mindshare, I mean who's talking about it. Right? Go on Twitter, go on the search bar, put in the name of your meme, go on latest. Are they bitching about it or are they excited? Are they rockets, rockets, rockets? Or are they like, I told you this was a rug pull? And even worse
got a
than
few
both of
hundred
those is when you type it and you
memes.
get nothing. When you type it and you get nothing and you got to scroll back 2 or 3 weeks to even hear the last mention of your meme coin, it's time to pivot, guys. If I could put one difference on this bull market compared to the others, the importance of being on top of narrative, taking profits often, and pivoting as narratives pivot made you the most amount of money this year versus anything else. I don't care if it's memes, AI, can't even put it to one narrative. Just the ability to be on narrative, take profit, not get married to the narrative, sell into the retail push of that narrative, and then move on to the next narrative really separated the ones that killed it this time from the ones that are just kind of holding their head above water.
Yeah, that's gangster. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the all man playbook. Definitely for next season as well. Just what happened at the tip of what's happened the last 3 months. Already excited about, ready for that again. Even though it's 4 years away, 3 years away.
I look forward to it, bro. I've been saying it for a while. When we broke 100K, I immediately started thinking about the bear market and just being like, oh my God, it's crazy. You
I
just
can't tell.
wait. You got to wait for these opportunities, Like the profits that we're looking forward to taking now, 2 year wait, 3 year wait.
Yeah, like 15, 16, 21. I just, you know what I know now? Okay. We there again? Oh, you best believe I'm uh I'm putting in the right trades and it's gonna be some W's.
Damn right.
Yeah, I've already started scaling out. Taking a little bit of profit just above 100K now on a few things with initials out a while ago.
Yeah.
So it's mainly house money now. I have a bit of new money deployed in a few memes, but that can go to zero and I won't really worry about it.
Yeah, I de-risked. I told the guys that I de-risked out of alts when we on our way up to this lower high. Problem was that this flag here really reminded me a lot of what we had down here. So I was saying be careful because it looks a lot like it did last time. So I went heavy into my barbell strategy here, right? Where it's like heavy Bitcoin, took all of my coins out of their blockchains into their governance tokens, right? So all of my ERC20 tokens in the ETH, all of my Solana tokens in the Sol. And then I went heavy narrative on the other side of the barbell with the AI agents and shit like that. But all the stuff in the middle is still out of the market for me. My low caps, my mid caps. I'm waiting to get back up to this downtrend. Once we get that rejection, clear rejection of that downtrend, third lower high, that's when I'll start really getting heavy into all season here. But I'm definitely still de-risked right now when it comes to alts, except for the riskier ones. That makes any sense, right? I mean by a barbell strategy is like, you've got like one side of the barbell, and then you've got the middle, and then you sort of got the other side. So like one side of the barbell would be like BTC. The other side of the barbell would be like brand new coins that just listed. And then all of your utility and sort of everything else that lands in the middle. Right? So safety, speculation. That's sort of how I played it. Hedge against my speculative plays, going heavy on Bitcoin while dominance is still doing its thing, but not spending too much time in the middle worried about utility or mid caps, or there's going to be a time for that, right? They're not going to run independently right now with dominance doing what it's doing. What's going to run independently are the things that have high speculation. And then out of that zone of the things that are highly speculative, you really want to stay on narrative, in front of narrative if at all possible. You don't want to chase.
Yeah, a few of our guys are now big into yeah, you've been talking about it, obviously, the AI agents on virtuals.
Yeah.
And then we've now just recently got into an AI agent on Sui called Agent S. Obviously not to show, but
Yeah.
we got into that. And that's the thing. I think me and you are one and the same pretty much, Dbloc. We kind of understand how this stuff works quite a bit to kind of either de-risk or stay the course on the narratives, specifically to kind of number one, de-risk, but also as well maximize on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta hedge against it. I've never been, I mean, I've been in this since before I even knew it was a market, but I've never seen this level of speculation ever in any of the cycles. This amount of just pure willingness to speculate on air, on just vapor. And it didn't just happen now, because usually you start to see that during the last 20%, 30% of the bull market, right? But I mean,
Yeah, you get
we
that
went
euphoria.
immediately into that. Like, you know, usually it's you go into Bitcoin, then Bitcoin people take profit, it goes into ETH, and it starts going into Sol and AVAX and your mid caps, then it rolls down into the low caps, and it goes back down into Bitcoin. No, people bought Bitcoin and memes at the bottom and played them hard. I mean, to the point where there was multi-million-dollar pre-sales for pump.fund tokens that hadn't even launched, like just ridiculous levels of speculation and degeneracy. So you can either turn your nose down at it, or you can stand in front of it with a big bag of money and just fill your bags and get out. Because you know, at the very least, you're gonna have more risk management than the degens that are in there.
Yeah,
So
fully agree.
if you manage to get rug pulled, it's because you drank the Kool-Aid and you stayed there way too long.
Yeah, so what we kind of what I've been preaching is just this concentration, which is the same thing that you pretty much getting to anyway or talking about, is the thing when you actually follow the narratives. So obviously you got the AI agents, you had memes last year. Obviously the Sol ecosystem, memes, pump.fun, coins on radium, those type of things. So basically that's what we've been doing. Obviously we don't have researchers and stuff, but if you get into the trenches on X or kind of follow the right kind of channels, if you call it that, or the right influences, you can get in or find kind of the early stuff to get in on coins early.
Or at least catch wind of what the narrative shift is, right? Because within memes alone, you had you had memes are running, cool. But to really make money with the meme narrative, you had to know when it was cat season and when it was political season and when it,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So you've got your sub narratives within the narratives. Like, yeah, AI is running hard right now. And if somebody just says, hey, the AI narrative is hot, cool, but you don't know that it's AI agents that are hot, and you end up buying a bunch of fat and a bunch of tau or something, and you're like, well, what happened? You know what I mean? Like
getting smacked.
Yeah.
So like tau, near, render, all of them are getting a bit of a flat smack at the moment, but you find the agent plays are actually outperforming.
Yeah.
So this is the thing
and that money rotates. So that money rotates, right? Because people that did get into AI early and got into tau early and got into AGIX early, got into AIOZ early or something, they're the ones that are taking profits from those plays and compounding them with the AI agents. And when this narrative fizzles out, that money's coming all back into Render, all back into AIOZ, all back into Tau. And those are the ones
And
that
this is the
retail are easily accessible for retail, right? That's why they'll go back in there. If retail
Yeah,
can't
this is a
come in
good
here in 5 months and buy your coin on their exchange, on their app, without having to download a DEX and a hot wallet and all this shit that they don't understand, if they can't access your coin, it is not going parabolic.
Yeah, for true. But this is the thing as well. Obviously, with token dilution, and obviously, you know, you get your 4 phases of your traditional cycle. Obviously, Bitcoin, ETH, layer ones, or whatever it is, right? That kind of pyramid. I think now the pyramid is just within the narratives. It's been more within the narratives than the spread of kind of the actual layering from Bitcoin to ETH to large caps to whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So
for me, the
and this is the thing that
cycle that I've noticed has been Bitcoin, speculative projects, governance token back to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, if it was Solana memes, and Solana would pump, then back into Bitcoin. That's how I've kind of been playing it.
Yeah, there hasn't been much of a kind of flow.
It's ETH's fault
to ETH or L1s as such.
Yeah.
But if any of them, if any money was in ETH or L1s, that's kind of, there's actually been outflows there, kind of going to the hot narratives as well. So you can see it's just like the attractiveness of everything at the moment it's forcing people's hands. It's the FOMO thing, I think, as well. People see that something's pumping and they'll move their money and paper hand and go into something that's going to move and just hope and pray that even if they're cutting losses on hypothetically ETH and they're going into an AI agent, the AI agent then it's a vicious cycle because it's probably going to wreck them. But this is the thing, you got to try and get in early or before it's kind of hit its peak euphoria within that narrative, sub-narrative, or whatever it is.
Nah, they're chasing the sexy girl in the red dress. You know, every once in a while, that distraction, the shiny thing.
Saving my 91,637.
Yeah, BTC bounced off previous weekly low from what I was seeing.
Yeah, our biggest deviation out of the range sort of double bottomed off of that. I don't see what I would like to see though. I don't see the stopping volume candle that I was hoping for. There's a bit of a doji on the hourly, but
You'll get it if we eat 91.
that's what I'm trying to. That's why I want to go down and get that because I want this will be a stopping volume candle in this area.
Yeah, building liquidity to drop it again.
Yeah,
because you can see obviously a relatively fast move down from, it was the last drop, like 92. No, where did we drop from? 94.4 basically. That quick little drop within about 2 hours, hour to 2 hours, or maybe more, say 3 hours. That drop then stalls. So basically, they're baiting longs, from what I can see. As soon as the liquidity is built in, they're gonna the drop price again to take them out.
yeah, that's what we were saying before. There's really only 25 X's down here. They'd love for this to be smacked with 150 X's if they're gonna make the move.
Are you using liquidation levels by Leviathan?
Yeah, on
with
my
these liquidity levels below. Yeah, that's what I use as well. Do have access to hard block, but the hard block's having a bit of issues of late, so I have to use CoinGlass. They're having hard block having issues with their API.
Look into Coinac. I really like Coinac. I used to use high block a lot. But
I only Coinank. I mainly just use it for the like the order book. You see the large limits. That's all I use it for. But I have order flow. I have trading lights. So I kind of have all my little tools. Though you could probably, like, I think you as well. You suggest or you show all the free ones, which
I try to I don't want to.
I put everything through my LC and I get VAT back, so I don't care.
Nah, I don't want
put the
to
invoice.
show people things that they can't access because then they start to feel like oh well, that's why, you know, because you're paying for that, and I can't pay for that, so I can't do as well as you can. It's not. All the data's out there. This is a convenience factor.
Yeah. This price action, the speed is the problem. I think you've been saying it over and over again. It's like
Everything
fast
is in
drops,
price anyway.
fast drops, slow sideways, not a quick enough bounce, not a V. They tried a V recovery earlier. They tried a kind of a fake out of a W earlier.
Yeah.
Low time frame, like 5 to 15 minute, and just did nothing.
This would probably be the
Also as
first,
well,
aside from the stopping volume candle, the fact that we did hit off the deviation and putting in a bit of a higher low here. This would be the first sort of decent start to something that I've seen in a little.
yeah,
Just
we
a start,
rebroke
though.
structure. The only issue for me is we've rebroken structure on the 15 minute. Need to come back up above kind of the 50 EMA almost on the 15 minute to actually start. The structure break was at. Yeah, we've just come
Daily
back into it. The
close.
structure break is basically on the previous daily low, so it's about
this double
whatever that
bottom
level
here.
is.
Basically the 50
92.
EMA on the 5 minute.
Yeah.
Time to think about the daily close, in my
So
opinion.
this is the thing for me now to go long. I tried along earlier, but I got out quick. I got out on the where did we bounce? I did this last one. When was this? Like 2 p.m. or 2 p.m. our time, so it's probably 9 a.m. Kind of this first drop in kind of pre-New York. Then we got a small move up, and then obviously we got this bigger move down. Or originally, what
Bitcoin-
is pre-New York? Or
Do you think Bitcoin can do 3 red candles in a row? Well, BTC
What
can
do you
achieve
mean?
that. Well, it's been a while, right? 3 red days in a row. Wow, impressive.
I think you've been saying it as well, Dbloc. If you've looked at the daily, we've now with the vector candles, we've got the daily red into a violet vector candle into like nothing now. So market makers left a lot of liquidity behind up top there.
Yep.
Just it screams to me that they'll go back for it.
Ignore what they say and watch what they do.
Yeah, but just for those also, I think I don't know. Yeah, I think from what I saw previously with you, Dbloc, is that you kind of learned the vectors and the tick volume and kind of the increments, the kind of how they work, kind of pre 14 and kind of the whole influencer train got on them.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, I learned it from Tino, and then obviously as well, Annie from Trade Travel Chill, and then yeah, just learned them that way.
No, those guys are good. Guys are
So,
good. They use them. You know, it's a tool, so it all depends on how you use it. Like Tino uses it for short scalps.
yeah, we use it in our groups for scalps. Specifically, we look for formations. So obviously stopping volume vectors, railway tracks. So like here on the daily, we had a railway track, right? We had the green vector into the red vector, bearish engulfing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of on Monday or Tuesday. So like yeah, formations, stopping volumes. The first vector strategy above the EMAs or below the EMAs. We use the vectors as well in regards to the Asia range. So if you map out your Asia ranges, you can work out on the 15-minute between the Asia crossovers, between all the different crossovers of the sessions, as to kind of likelihoods. It's all probabilities using them because obviously they can also fake out.
The thing is, even the fake out gives you data, though.
Yeah.
Main reason I've been
It's-
paying attention to the weekend trap isn't for the success, it's for the failure. The success is already baked in. Success is just par for the course. What I'm paying attention to is the moment at which market maker starts to lose control or lose, I shouldn't even say control, I should say influence, really.
Because that's basically what's happened this past weekend. We had obviously the weekend trap went up, had the final damage. There was a M, multi-session M, I think.
Okay,
And if
so
you ever
this
went
is
back and showed
where because you're in Annie's group, right? So I watched Annie's take.
I've learned from Annie and I've learned from Tino.
Okay, I've
So
watched.
obviously, you look for the patterns, timing, and velocity.
I
It's
watched.
kind of the three main rules.
Yeah, I watched
Three
Annie
main rules we use.
and Tino's take on this last weekend trap. And I honestly disagree with both of them. So this is how they played it, right? This deviation down here out of the weekend trap, they were calling this the false move. They were calling this the false move week beginning.
So that's what I would believe it would be as well.
So I don't. The reason that I say that I don't is because I have a really strict measure for what the false move is. For me, the false move has to free one side or the other of the trap longs and shorts. For our
We didn't
false
free anything because they
for
were
our
lower.
false move to be down, they would have had to come all the way down here. What we did free was our trap longs. We freed our trap longs on Sunday, which told me that the false move was up. Our false move Monday was all the way up to 102. We pivoted on Monday. So this was the false move. This is the true direction of the weekly move. The 3-day swing was down. So you had your weekend trap, false move Monday, your true direction. And then now we're going back to see if we can figure out how we're going to set this next trap.
They need to kind of do some remediation of some sort there to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the trigger
it's not
is
normally what they do as well. This is the thing. It looks as if it was a failure, kind of from the outset. Obviously, there was method in what they were doing.
the percentages, I think, are what threw people off. Because technically, this false move on Monday, this false move could be a 5x move. You could literally go parabolic, and as long as that pivots on Monday and the rest of the direction of the week is in the opposite direction, then that was the false move. Because the point of it is setting up the next 3 days of trading. Like, cool, if you got in, you play, because you play these false moves, right? You can play this to the top, you can play this to the bottom, so you would have been in for it anyways. But
yeah, you always have weekend Monday, and you judge it after Monday.
Yeah,
so that's
and
what
then you figure out what you're gonna do, after that. But I understand how people drew it, right? Because this is what I saw being drawn. I saw people pull in the weekend trap up like this, and there's not very many people that do it. They pulled the weekend trap up like this, and what they said was that this was the trap short.
No, the trap was always where you put it. That's how I had it.
And that's what I don't agree with, because then
Kind
when
of
this came down and freed these guys, then you're under the impression that this is the false
UK
move.
and New York.
Yeah.
It was like that, this band here that you're showing.
Did you guys try? Did you ever try that strategy on a different time frame? Like, how about instead of a weekend 3-day move, why not a bigger time frame?
Well, because it just plays out on the weekend because of CME. The reason that it's controlled by the week is because CME close is the whole purpose of it. The whole purpose of this entire move, this section, not this section, right? This section obviously is repositioning and shaking out. But this section right here, the entire purpose of this is to keep price close to CME so that there's no gap. And the failure, when we failed, market maker failed when we leave a gap. If we left a gap that has to be replaced, that has to be retraced, then they failed at their job during the weekend.
Yeah, because also as well, another way to work it as well, to figure out your false moves, is between your psychological high and low. And then it's only post the fact, but you can see it if price action swings to the opposite end of the psychological high and low after the first move, either the Sunday, Monday. That's how you know that also it's not a kind of conventional
There
weekend trap.
are
You could still try
move.
to
there are five
test it without
there's
CME.
there's 5 mean reversions that I play. There's 5 different my whole strategy is mean reversion, but there's 5 specific mean reversions that I play. The mean reversion to the 50, the mean reversion to the 200, the mean reversion to the 800, the mean reversion to the daily open, and the mean reversion to the psychological ranges. All 5 of those are magnets for mean reversion. So yeah, when you pop up and you deviate above, depending on how much time is left in the week, you can expect price to try to come back and find its equilibrium back at the psychological ranges. Excuse me, we've already pushed this out pretty far, right? We put in our range on Saturday. That's a bit of a big ask to get back up there by Saturday. So chances are we've already deviated away from our psychological range and came back to it. The play was coming back into the range. And then our daily open is also a daily mean reversion. And then we already know how it works with the EMAs.
I'm wondering if that strategy would do less good if you ignore the CME and the timing, but you just identify low volatility times in the chart. So yes, they're going to line up on the weekend.
You're going to find it. Even if you don't look for CME, you're going to find the CME gap. Yeah.
You're going to end up there, but not necessarily. Some like if you look at volatility right now compared to what we had from that impulse from 60 to 100, it's actually pretty low. So you could consider this whole area as being just an example. But this range we are in from 90 to 99, it could be your low volatility area a bit, and you'd have your trap shorts from 60K, right?
90, but the thing is that
108 and
the thing is that 90% of the time your psychological high and low are going to form around that CME gap. And we know where the CME closes. Yeah. We know where the CME closes before our psychological ranges start to form. So the CME closes our canary in the coal mine for where the psychological range is going to be for the entire next week.
What I see is a reversal strategy based on low range bound price action.
Yeah,
and you're kind of expecting a breakout and then a break back down.
What I'm expecting is for the market maker to do his job and provide balance until the market maker loses control. And when the market maker provides balance, what it looks like on our chart is mean reversion. So if you pay attention to the metrics that they pay attention to when it comes to them providing balance, then you use those as mean reversion targets. And the only time to stop ignoring those is when liquidity gets to the point where there needs to be no liquidity provided. And at that point, your green parabolic candles week after week, CME gaps getting left, week after week after week.
But also, there's only so much the market makers can do. If it gets to a stage where obviously you do get kind of parabola, if you even you can even call it from the Trump pump, right? From the announcement.
There's exhaustion. There's market maker exhaustion. Yeah.
They can do whatever
that was
they
just
want.
up. They couldn't control that, so you just go with it.
If there's too much buy pressure,
and then now you can see they're coming back for the kind of all the imbalance now.
They literally shut off the buy button
and then come back for it later.
Not necessarily shut off the buy button, but they decide when to match and when not, right? Deciding to not provide liquidity has the same effect as deciding to provide liquidity.
If they're really losing too much, they can even shut off the buy button.
Oh, don't get it wrong. There's never a loss here. Market maker is not going to lose. They have to wait. Worst case scenario, you have to wait.
They've got different options though.
When
they don't have to use crypto, right? They can use options. They've got options as well. Obviously spot, some low leverage. Generally, they tend to just do spot because obviously there's what do you call it? Gamma neutrality. So it's easier to remain gamma neutral if you spot, right? You're just buying and selling spots a lot easier as a market maker or liquidity provider. But
The one thing that
If they want
solidified
to go
it,
to the other side of the books, they can hedge on puts and calls as well. I think. Well, I know the CME dealers do that. I don't know how, if specifically that's how someone like
market
Winter
makers,
Mute or one of these big market makers would do it.
market makers tend to hedge by providing liquidity to the other side. There's not too much spot that goes on. It's not really as it really literally is just deciding when to provide, when to match and when not to match, or better said, when to send you to the book and not to send you to the book. Right? If the market maker doesn't match, they send you to the book. If they send you to the book, then price moves. But what really solidified it for me was going back into the prior bear markets and realizing that every single bear market we've had has just been vector recovery. From the point where the market maker loses control of the market and has to leave those behind until the next season. But they will always come back and pay
what they've
themselves.
done with the if you went back and checked, you probably have anyway, but if you from November the 6th, we have left a lot of liquidity behind from 58k all the way up. From where we had that scam down to kind of the last low to then literally everything just bouncing and moving parabolically.
Yeah.
Well, it retested 48k, right? So I don't know if it was really a scam.
Well, I call it that, but it's maybe too strong. But you get the drift.
We were all over that shit. We swung at that so hard in here.
Oh, fuck. I made fat loads just trading that range between whatever it was, 40 and 70k. we made an absolute killing range trading that.
Me, I got wrecked nicely on the 5th of August, but we made it easily.
Yeah, from the Trump candle, we've still got basically 2 weekly green vectors below us, which obviously will only be come back for way later, maybe. But
yeah, I honestly think anything underneath us above election is in the cards for the next. You know, we've never come down from. Pull this chart up. We have it real quick. Is it this one? Where are we?
Yeah, election pump or whatever the price was at election.
We've never come down underneath it. So
I've heard that being
any vectors above it are still in the cards. But 69 seems to be the floor unless that metric is going to break. The only problem I have with that is to get a 70 plus correction and only get down to 69 means that we've got to reevaluate some of our higher numbers. One of those metrics is going to break. Either we're going to get less than a 70% correction during the bear market, or we're going down lower than our election day.
Or we're pumping more.
Entry. That's what I mean. Yeah. Either we're going higher or one of those is going to break though.
One of our strategies is just using like swing failure patterns or mainly looking for stopping volume. So that's kind of one of our theses at the moment is if we do even go down to like 85, 77 CME, it's going to be we're hoping, in inverted commas, it becomes a quick move and then just gets bought back up really quickly. So what you can say, what we can kind of put it down to then, if that happens, kind of if that plays out, that becomes like a market structure deviation, but a buyback up to still reclaim the market structure and not actually kind of affect anything, just leaves the wick behind.
Yeah.
So that's the best case. But if it just trickles down and starts just lower low after lower low on the high time frames, break structure, and it's not going to be a good look. We need fast moves, quick buy ups, quick reversals, but also on the opposite side of that also kind of can leave imbalances. But that for us is our best case scenario. If we do start heading into these 85s, whatever it is, 85, 77, all the levels being spoken about by everyone and their grandmom. So
I think that's the best.
Not going to happen.
I think that's the best setup for an institutional front run that I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God. You break 85 and you get everybody thinking we're going down to that CME gap. And they're selling the house to short Bitcoin down to 76 just to whip it up on them. Nasty work.
Well, that's our bread and butter.
Yeah.
Swing failure patterns are one of our bread and butter strategies. We look for that often.
This has been the year for it. It's been the this whole bull market's been just front
Liquidity
run after
grabs.
front run
I
after
think it's the
front
easy way
run.
to explain it for those that don't know what swing failure patterns are. Just a quick
The
wick into the
daily,
liquidity and
so,
then move
we have the daily
in the
soon,
opposite
right?
direction.
If this daily closes above 92.8, we're just gonna end it a swing failure pattern. No? We're just gonna end up naming it an SFP. Exactly like the one on the 15-minute all the way at the top there. That was a nice swing failure pattern.
Yeah, that was
Very
one
different
our
time frame, but
got that. That was one of
yeah.
our setups. Was
So
the Asia
only I got stepped
range.
out, just re-entered, but 102, 400, you had just a wick above and the 15-minute
Yeah, there was the
gently
Asia
closing below.
range. Was it Asia?
Well, on a
Yeah.
very different time frame. Well, we'll see where the daily closes, but
It was actually dead gap. Dead gap. They wicked up before Asia high. I mean, before Asia opened. Yeah. So we have a few guys in from like 102, 102.2 on the short. I only got in on a 50 EMA breakdown, like 101, 400. That might now be my swing play. Swing play short against the spot bags.
because it seems in a hurry to dump. I don't know why we are in a hurry to dump, but failure to dump when you're in a hurry to dump can backfire.
Yeah.
For me, it's simple. For me, we're just back down to the bottom of the range. Only thing that's outstanding is a possible deviation to the bottom, but
Like a bigger SFP on the weekly.
no, I'm talking about right here on the 15-minute. All we're waiting for is a deviation down to the bottom side, clear these liquidations. But what's treacherous about this is that what everybody else is waiting for is the breakdown of this head and shoulders, right? So while we get what we want with the deviation that gives us a sign to enter, the masses are getting their sign to leave. And this is where I think the fuckery lies. But we'll see, right? We love these. Clear invalidation. You know where you don't want to come down under. Bottom of the range, high levels of FUD, macro support. This is what we trained for.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think as well. I'm probably not going to. I think I'm not going to leverage up too much as well. If we go down, I'll buy the synthetic BTC. I'll just buy BTC on the CX on exchange.
All the guys
Trade it
de-risk, deleverage,
and trade it that way. Trade it that way until there's kind of a bit more strength and less mess around.
Yep.
Can't don't want to swear, but yeah.
Yo, what's up, guys?
What's going on? Nah, Drew, the head and shoulders isn't invalidated. I just don't buy it personally. You're not gonna hear me go against TA very often, guys. So like, take a picture, snapshot it. But I don't buy this head and shoulders. For me, it's obvious manipulation to make people think price is going lower. And the only reason I'm even calling it a head and shoulders is to be fair to the bears. But honestly, we blew out that right shoulder already. Not enough to invalidate the pattern, but like
on
I said
SMP,
yesterday,
the neckline
this isn't a low risk trade, guys. This is, if you're not experienced, you want to wait for this to shake out and you want to wait to get some actual confirmation, because it's going to get sketchy underneath that dotted line. Be clear.
SMP has a similar head and shoulder. Kind of same time frame. And the neckline of it is the beginning of your 5th of November gap. So
What's happening
whatever,
with this FUD, man? Are they trying
know-
to manipulate us again?
Of course.
I don't know about that, but what I know is whatever happens here, Bitcoin has been stronger than the S&P, so that's a good sign. We're finally not underperforming the stock market. We've been waiting for that for like a little while. Yeah, 2 years almost. So
This is why I call
It's
it a Jasmine head and shoulder. All right, Jasmine did this to us a couple times, but the big one was here.
Nasdaq's one is upward tilted.
Most obvious, just beautifully laid out head and shoulders. Just to watch it come back down and rip.
To be fair, on Nasdaq, it broke to the downside. It came back up, retested, and is back on the way down. But because the whole thing is upward tilted, it's not that good of a trade actually.
Yeah. And like I said, if you're new, just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I don't want you to get into the habit of seeing obvious patterns and ignoring them. This is not what I'm trying to teach here. I'm just letting you know that my instinct tells me that that's not going to play out like that.
20,300, yeah, somewhere there.
Anything to do with the mass manipulation at the start of the year, Dbloc? Come on, there's a lot of fuckery on the board.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the FUD today and yesterday definitely lead me to, it gives me confirmation on what I was already thinking, that this just feels like a setup.
I didn't want to say anything because it's not based on TA, but I often see around the 15th, the middle of the month, is when they rip it back up. So it was like a strong start at the start of the year, trick people in, scare them out, get halfway through this month, and then take it up. But if that doesn't happen, then we'll leave it till February. But I don't know. That middle of the month just seems to be a great time for them to turn it back around.
A
Can't
bit like
remember,
midweek
I don't-
reversal, but mid-month reversal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's my mid-month reversal for you, Zeusy.
I don't know if you guys follow moons or even have any critical thoughts on the moon phases, but I think there's a new moon coming, or a moon coming, that full moon coming soon.
I think Dbloc has an opinion about that.
Yeah. Well, we have.
No, I mean, it is, people follow it. I understand why it works when it works, but yeah,
Let me just look.
I don't put too much weight into it.
Indicators are just there to provide confidence for people to trade. They're not there to make profit.
What means I can remember times during the last 4 cycles where the moon cycle indicator was spooky accurate, and then it just isn't. And that's I
true for
can't.
every indicator.
That's why I don't use the majority of indicators, because I need to be reliable.
Yeah.
First
It's like
price, then
80-something
indicators.
% hit rate.
And the scary part about when indicators are like that is they do so well for so long that they get blindly followed. And then when they go wrong, they go horribly wrong, and things go wrong quick. And then it's like, oh, shit.
That's why I look at a lot of stuff. But market
Yeah.
structure for me is one of the main ones I look at. But yes, you can get fake outs, but if your market structure is bearish, you should be favoring shorts. If your market structure is bullish, you should be favoring longs. Well, obviously, then you intermingle that between, are you bearish on the 5-minute or are you bearish on the daily? So that's just how I've traded. And obviously
Yeah,
added
and
all the other
the
little
time to
incremental
switch is
things
hard.
on top of that.
The time to switch is hard to guess correctly. It's okay to switch a bit too early though. You know, golden is 1014 now. Beautiful ABC with the low. All we have to do is stay above 91.5.
For that head and shoulders to officially be invalidated, you would need price to pop back up above the right shoulder. If you wanted to count this as a head and shoulder, you couldn't invalidate it until price closed above 102.8 on at least the daily. Now, the arguments from the bulls are going to be like, well, that right shoulder is way too high. Wachowski will tell you that that's not invalidated.
It's just not perfect.
It's just not perfect. Yeah. That's not textbook. But you've got to, like, it's been months now that I've been saying that we're getting to the point where a TA is not enough. You've got to temper your TA with seasonality and with sentiment.
I'd like to say just order book helps understand why we did that for that deviation above 99.5 because it could have done it would have not done it. They just allowed it to pump a bit more.
It was two hourly candles. That's why it's not enough for me to call it an invalidation. You know, it's like literally just 2 green candles, and they got eaten up immediately. So
also you had enough of a sell wall to stop it at 99.5, but they preferred to cancel it, let it pop, and eventually still sell the same level. Like it kind of failed to give them a better exit. But too many people would have shorted 99.5, so I guess that's probably why.
if we go to the 3-day, it's probably just a wick. Yeah. But it's also a nice big red vector into support on a high FUD day in the middle of bullish seasonality, right before inauguration.
How many days before it closes?
2 days for this last candle to close. We already got a green candle.
It hit 50% though as well, didn't it? Was that white little line on the vector to the left? Did it hit 50%, recover 50% of that previous red vector?
Here? Yeah,
110?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so market makers gone back for the liquidity that they left behind there already, or at least 50% of it. Kind of just the general.
And 97.5 is the. It's 97.5 now.
And left a bunch of longs from 102 to 94.
With a midpoint at. Wait, where's the middle of your red candle?
It would be
about 99, 100, give or take, 99? I think.
Oh, it's
just
higher
the body.
than the. Okay.
97,
98.
Well, even with all the FUD out there, we're not getting any volume actually. That's odd. Wait, am I on the wrong chart here?
Stock market was close today, and so was CME. So.
Okay, that's why. So
it's the low volume day.
With the stock market closed, with CME closed, it's the time where with the least money you can achieve stuff. Oh, I didn't
remember we were talking about the vectors that get left behind that don't get recovered are the ones that are above the election day price. This is November 5th. So that's the price that if the cycle remains the same, Bitcoin can't come down underneath during the next bear market. And these are the vectors that I'm saying are getting left behind. They're literally right above. It's just kind of perfect.
My stop loss needs to be below 69K. Damn.
Move your stop loss up.
yeah.
Dbloc, did you see how much gas is in? Did you see how much gas is in Greenland? Dbloc, it's like 1,000 billion barrels or something, man. Fuck.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I just heard the report on BBC. They were talking about it. There's like literally 1,000 billion barrels of fuel out there.
So that's why America wants to invade Greenland?
No, not just that. The new shipping routes that are opening up with the ice pulling back as well. They'll reduce their shipping between like China and Europe or something with like 20 days instead of 30 days. Plus, Russia's just got all their military all along that coastline as well. So it's the Russia, Europe, America battle. But yeah,
For
gold,
resources
zinc.
in the only places where we've left nature alone because it's a cold desert.
Who runs Greenland though? Who actually, whatever, has the
Denmark.
rights to it?
Denmark, NATO.
Denmark. Oh, okay.
But
Yeah,
it's
like they're gonna
contested.
allow that.
But
Well, it
there's only
depends.
like
If you ask
60,000
Putin
people
to-
there. They're all miners and military, though. It's just a military outpost and a shipping strategy.
Denmark is a small country, you know. If it needs protection, it'll give up Greenland.
It's because China's bought into all the mining there. And America doesn't want China taking all the minerals out. So, and Russia, it's their strategy. So that's where all their military is, all their missiles. They got submarine launching from there and stuff as well. Trump's just hilarious. He just calls out the elephant in the room straight up. All right, we're taking over Greenland and Canada for fun.
Don't forget about Panama Canal. We're going to bring that back home. We're going to call it the Gulf of America now.
So this is a Russia-America thing, really, because Russia's, but at the same time, Russia, we're concerned they'll side with China, but they also don't want China coming into there as well. So it will become a Russia-China contest as well.
What do you mean? Russia and China are chilling. Only reason that Russia invaded Ukraine is because they had promises from China to buy their oil after sanctions. The only country that could buy their oil that doesn't care if it's on U.S. sanctions or not.
Mm-hmm. They're chilling now until they're not, and then they're fighting over that area there. They want the shipping.
And what China gets out of it is China gets to watch the U.S. be involved in a proxy war and see what the U.S. Response is to invading an ally.
Like Taiwan.
Yeah. Let's see. I wonder what'll happen if Putin. Hey, do me a favor. Just go over there to Ukraine real quick. We're just trying to see something. Yeah. Yeah, there's all proxy wars, yo. If you look at the footing that China's been on war footing for a long time. While we were getting rid of our strategic petroleum reserve to pay for the favors that we got during Ukraine, they were filling theirs with Russian oil. Stockpiling food, building jails. Under that one COVID policy, they built so many jails and they took over farms. They did a bunch of shit that was in the name of the COVID policy. But if you just ignore COVID, like ignore it completely and look at what they did, increase their strategic oil reserves, increase their food reserves, built jails. That's war footing.
Well, it's isolationism, right?
It's war footing, right? Because what happens is when you go to war in a place like China, you don't decide if you get to go to war or not. And if you don't want to go to war, well, guess what? We just got a bunch of brand new jails built.
It's not only China that's doing that. There are more jails in France today than 10 years ago, too.
Yeah, you guys might be trying something too, man. I'm keeping my eye on the French. You guys are moving. You guys are moving funny over there.
Macron. But what you said is true for every country, including America, France, and all. We are stockpiling stuff.
Yeah, well, it wasn't true for America. We were doing the opposite at the time because we had to pay our debts to Europe for their help in Ukraine. Yeah.
Oh, there was no Ukraine war when COVID.
No, I'm talking after. I'm talking after that. Remember the COVID policy in China that they were using to build these jails. I mean, that's literally didn't stop running until a year ago, if that.
Yeah, they exited COVID later than us.
They used it. They did it under the guise of preparedness, COVID preparedness. Unfortunately, COVID preparedness and wartime preparedness sort of look alike at a distance. You know, it's very
Oh,
similar.
you saw those articles about how China is funding its army through U.S. rates, U.S. government bonds.
Mhm.
It was really interesting. Like, we're literally the ones financing Chinese army, and then we're gonna complain we have to fight in China. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, because China's a big holder of the US bonds, same like Japan.
Yeah. So when
Same like
Powell increases rates, it's like
so
providing
bond rates
money
go up,
to
they
to
sell
China
bonds and they
to
make good money.
yeah, it's providing them money to build their army. So the Chinese army is being built thanks to Wall Street finance.
That's always been true. China is we built China. We built the industrial cities there.
Yeah.
If you live almost anywhere in this world, you are in some way complicit to the destruction of somebody, if not like a lot of people.
So my point is, we're funding both sides. You're funding Taiwan. You're also funding China.
Oh, absolutely.
Interesting, right?
All smoke and mirrors and proxy wars, basically, in my view. with the puppeteers kind of just controlling the timing of everything.
The GPUs.
It's absolutely the cheapest way for China to see what our reaction would be to them going into Taiwan. And it cost them nothing but trade deals.
Don't you think now that obviously the like Trump makes himself out to be like the alpha, right? The takes no trouble.
Yeah.
You've obviously got to take no trouble in Putin, take no trouble in Xi Jinping or whatever, and yeah, like all the alphas now are like in power.
Yeah.
Is that not that could be a Molotov cocktail, like a shit concoction?
It's like when you show up to a party in high school and all the gangs are there, and you're like, who invited all these people into the same room? Oh shit.
Yeah, but you get like B grade sports and it gets more scrappy as well. You know, when people aren't so alpha, they start playing more scrappy moves.
One thing I'll tell you is that
strength is good.
He does respect the strength. He likes a strong. Trump likes a strong man. That's obvious, right? We've seen that already. So the chances of finding some sort of deal, as long as there's mutual respect, are pretty high. The problem is that Putin has shown nothing but disrespect since Trump's been elected. Blatant disrespect. On Russian TV, they were blasting naked pictures of Melania the night he got elected. As he's accepting the award, they're blasting naked pictures of Melania on Russian television. He came out and talked about this Ukraine peace, and that on day one there was going to be peace, and Putin was like, "That's pure fiction. I decide when peace happens." You got to be careful, man. He's treading in waters that are above his head. Putin's been a strong man for a long time, and he plays dirty. And we're not even going to get into China and, you know.
And you need someone to blame for the lies you said. Putin is a good bait for that. I mean, a good target.
Yeah.
It's Trump we're talking about, let's not forget.
It should be interesting.
Russia just unbanned crypto?
Yeah.
Or something. They've been apparently BRICS and Russia and everyone have been using crypto payments to kind of circumvent the what do you call it? The
sanctions.
Sanctions? Yeah, sorry, that word.
Yeah, we saw that right after Ukraine. That bump that we saw after Ukraine, we dropped when he invaded. Russian feet on soil in Ukraine obliterated price for like 24 hours. But as soon as Biden got on stage and said that they're introducing sanctions, Bitcoin just went crazy. And you saw it in real time. You saw these oligarchs taking all their wealth, taking all the money out of the banks. You couldn't take more than $1,000 out of the bank at a time. It was almost immediate. And that's really where I think BRICS caught its wind.
Was there a bank run? I can't remember there being one.
Yeah, they had issues over there, and in Ukraine specifically.
Where in Russia there was a bank run.
No, in Ukraine you
kind of-
had because it was both, right? It was both Ukrainians and Russians buying Bitcoin. The oligarchs were trying to hide their funds, but the Ukrainians were trying to either get across the border with their life savings. You know, your family, a bag full of gold isn't the best idea.
Makes sense.
And then we saw that settle out. The piece that Zusi's always talking about that's bad for price is really the lifting of sanctions that's bad for price. Right? Because all that money in Bitcoin that's literally just there as a safe haven right now will feel safe to come out and go back into whatever, Russian investments or...
But
I
like
think peace is bad.
I heard as well.
It'll have a temporary downside, though.
Yeah.
I heard Russia was transacting in Bitcoin as well, or
And
obviously
using-
crypto, could be
and-
using anything to kind of to pay for stuff. maybe
And
from
they're
China or
using
from
and they're using excess energy to mine also.
yeah. So this is what did I heard something? I can't remember.
Dubai is supposed to buy
It was-
accept Bitcoin for oil. Also, there were stories about that.
Well, the whole
After food for oil, now it's crypto for oil.
the whole BRICS thing was always a question, but they came out with their BRICS unit, so we have an idea of how that's going to work already when it comes to that, right? So the BRICS unit, what they're doing is each country is going to have the control of their own BRICS unit. They've got to back it at least 50-50 with gold. The gold can't leave the borders of the country. This is how they wrote it out. So it'll be 50-50 backed by gold, 50-50 backed by local currency. So still no
I'm from
really
South
introduction
Africa, right?
to Bitcoin. Yeah.
How the fuck are they gonna find money to buy gold?
Yeah, listen,
It's like it's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm originally from South Africa. I'm in the UK now, but like Brazil, although Brazil's actually come out the other side pretty much. They're looking better than what they did, or maybe it was Argentina. Maybe I'm confused. But kind of someone like South Africa trying to back that BRICS, it's going to be very tough.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to print to buy. What they're basically doing is, if you want to be under the umbrella, you've got to at least show us that you can back up half of what, you know what I mean? Like, we got you on the other half, but if you can't back up at least half of your currency with hard assets.
Yeah, South Africa will just get the money from India or China.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of loans.
All the infrastructure, I don't know if people know, but a lot of the infrastructure in South Africa is these, these bridging loans. Like how China or like all the China took over like the Maldives and Mauritius and all these Seychelles and all these type of with these infrastructure like loans that will never be paid back. Same thing in South Africa. So South Africa will just loan money from China to back the currency, never pay it back.
So aside from the wars that are going on, one of the reasons that I'm holding my gold position to 3K is because of the BRICS thing as well. If they're going to have to back, they're going to have to buy gold, and there should be some buy pressure for at least the foreseeable future. And then you sprinkle in the instability that always helps. Makes me feel comfortable holding it, at least till 3K. I should have already taken profits under other circumstances, though.
How's your fees on gold? Because I found the swaps specifically on a lot of brokers is quite kind of for holding long swing positions.
I hold physical.
Oh yeah, physical is obviously the best way.
Yeah, this has been over a year-long hold for me, so I hold physical to avoid that.
Because I know obviously Tino was touting that silver's due for a run as well.
Silver looks decent. Copper is one that I'm really looking at hard right now. Is copper.
Yep, copper.
Yeah.
Rio Tinto is buying into copper. Everything else.
Palladium. I don't know if there's another kind of minor metal that also someone was mentioning as well.
Yeah, you've got
looks
palladium.
good.
You've got platinum.
Yeah, obviously platinum's. Yeah.
You guys said downward for commodities when Republicans are in power.
No, downward for the U.S. dollar, really. Which tends
Dixie needs to cool off a lot.
Oh yeah.
What, like it's like 9 or 10% appreciation at the minute.
Yeah, Rio Tinto's got out of iron ore, as far as I understand, in Australia. They're pouring into copper. Everyone's dumping into copper now.
Telling you, copper is going to be a sleeper. It's going to be a longer play, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to set that up.
They're going to need it to electrify all the cars, the grid. It's a no-brainer.
What's Dixie at? Dixie at 108 point something, so 8% appreciation. Is anybody worried about the carry trade with the USD JPY that Tino's been going on about for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's in their
Because
best interest to keep things the way they are right now, but I've always got an eye on yen just to make sure, because that's a problem. 14 trillion, 15 trillion dollars.
He's saying that they are looking at hiking. Obviously, if from what I see, obviously I follow Tino, and Tino obviously explains this in the way that he wants to explain it. But from what I see of it, provided the US does nothing, Japan will continue to do nothing. So the rate at the moment's okay, and it's floatable, right? So provided US, so on the next, I think they're saying up to March now, the Fed rate's going to be flat or kind of no action, hold. So that more than likely means, at least for the next 3 months, UADA in Japan, BOJ, they won't do anything. It's only when Fed gets aggressive again by any course of action, by hiking or cutting, will kind of the Bank of Japan. So on the next action, kind of either raise or cut by the Fed is kind of probably when the Bank of Japan will do something. Or what I'm seeing and what I'm reading into. Tino seems to think that Japan will raise soon after Trump is in power.
We need the dollar to go down. If the dollar goes down, their problems get less immediate. But if the Dixie keeps pumping, they're gonna have to make decisions.
For
and
for the dollar to go down, you need yen to go up. It's still going down.
Yeah, we need everybody else to kick in. Yen's gonna need some help from the euro and the pound and the Aussie dollar.
You guys just need to take holidays, Dbloc. Please just take a holiday and spend your money overseas now. I keep saying you'll buy up everything. Just go on holiday, guys.
Yen is really undervalued right now overall. It could do like even 2x up. Crazy for a currency.
This is what I'm looking at on copper now.
But yen anyway floats between, or USD JPY floats between like 148 and 160 the past however. So there's like a set rate. There's a set rate in it, or set kind of fluctuation. But when it gets, I'm just looking at USD JPY. I think when it gets over 160 is when they start having to intervene. 158, I think, is the intervention usually.
I don't know, but it's at the same value as 1990. And I get that there's less Japanese people alive, right? Then the population is decreasing, so maybe it makes sense that the currency loses value against the dollar. Fundamentally.
Yeah, but USD JPY as well is only kind of an intermediary kind of asset. It's like Tino explains it. The way that he explains it is that you borrow yen to then go into into other financial markets because there's a low rate of interest on the yen. So hedge funds do that apparently.
And that's why you end up with a yen that's really undervalued. Because they would be making too much money if the yen was also overvalued at the same time.
Yeah.
So now what happens when they close their trades? They go, well, they're getting yen. They can't buy a lot of dollars with that yen because it's undervalued. So you're stealing their exit. Yeah, cool. They made 100% borrowing money to buy Nasdaq to do 100% win in 2 years. But now when they're going back to dollars, Well, you're getting 10% less. You lost 10%. Yeah, even more actually. You lost 20%. Or I don't know. You gotta
Someone
look
was
at the
saying to
chart.
me that the carry trade cycle is usually 18 months to 2 years. It's like a cycle.
Yeah,
a
it's a
perpetual cycle.
It's a
Yeah, so
cycle.
like
It's like it halves in the 4-year liquidity cycle. So you get
Yeah.
2 runs of it during the 4-year liquidity
Yeah.
cycle.
And that obviously when you get 2 unwinds or 2 I don't know what they call it, scale ups or whatever you call it, that's kind of when you get the big fluctuations within stocks, commodities.
What helps the carry trade sort of balance out is price going up. If the money that was taken and invested is appreciating in value, there's no problem. It's when we start getting losses and now margin calls are coming in and now everybody's scrambling to figure out. And that's the problem that we had, right? Like the Japanese government literally reached out to investors and said, it's your patriotic duty to fucking sell back and buy Japanese companies right now or come back into the yen. Like it's kind of hard to fight that, you know?
Yeah, that's what happened in August basically.
Yeah. So this is my setup that I'm looking at for copper here. Right, we've come down to a multi-year support resistance flip, held twice. So I'm playing this into the breakout. We will have some resistance, same as we did here, which will eventually be our bottom during the next cycle, but I'm starting to fill in here. See if we can get above the 50, even if there's an initial rejection on the 50. Right, have to come back down, then I'll fill back in. But I'm a buyer in high 8s.
Did it put a low? Almost, right?
Higher low.
But almost.
Just barely.
No ABC.
Yeah,
It's close though.
It was a double bottom the last time, but we did have a double dip, right?
You
So
have
I'm
the
thinking
lower
that we
low.
could have a double dip here still.
Yeah. With the lower low, last point to long it.
Yeah.
I mean, best point to long it.
And then what else? My natty gas. Natural gas is set up, guys. We get seasonal spikes on natty, right? Just weather based.
Not as good as copper though.
No.
Copper's the buy. Buy Australian copper mining stocks. Our dollar's the lowest it's been in about 2 years. So,
but with environmental concerns out of the way with Trump, maybe copper mines are gonna boom in production.
They are.
So it's not just technical.
Anywhere in this range since 1995, you haven't regretted picking up.
When Rio Tinto sell out their iron ore mine sites and buy copper ones, it's a pretty good sign. They're big. It's a French company, right? I think, Susie.
Really? We're exploiting Australia?
I love how you act surprised. You're at all the meetings, bro. You know what's going on.
The problem right now is France is getting kicked from Africa by Russia. People don't want France anymore, I guess. They're like happily welcoming Chinese and Russians.
Yeah.
It's bad for French
I'd like to go back a bit about Greenland. There's a lot of minerals there, but they can't get them until the ice melts. They're too hard to get, so everyone's just waiting for the ice to melt.
That's funny. I mean, it is true though. It's like a lot of the shit that we consider scarce isn't necessarily scarce. It's difficult to get to.
Just under some ice.
It's technology. It's just one technological advancement away from becoming cheap enough to get. So this was our election day setup thing. Ignore all of my Dbloc's birthday. I was trying to prove a point to somebody about my birthday being the most bullish marker when it comes to crypto.
Yeah, and mine's the worst. Mid-June, just sell it all.
Yeah, buy my birthday, sell Fly's birthday. But yeah,
buy my birthday, sell yours.
You get dips to buy in May and June. Those are good buys.
So every election day, right? Since our first president, Obama, never came back to visit. Second election day, never came back to visit. Now this one was as close as we've gotten. Right, we came down to 15.5 and election day bottom was 12K. So now this is my point, what I was saying about the problem that we have. So I've got 8 trillion market cap. If we get to 8 trillion, having us sitting at 150, right? 6 trillion market cap, we get to 125. 12 trillion market cap for the Moon Boys, we get to 200K.
Current dominance, those numbers are wrong.
So there's a couple of things that have to happen for the trend to continue, or at least for it not to break, not to be an anomaly. Our bear market should be at least 70%, and I'm being gracious with that, because during the last bear market we were saying 85, we got 77 because of the front run. So let's assume another front run of the same magnitude and give it a little bit of room and say 70% retracement. Right? So we go to 6 trillion market cap, our 70% retracement, and I'll adjust the numbers later with current. Our 70% retracement would bring us to 37, well underneath election day. So that would break that metric. If we got to 8 trillion, it'd bring us down to 44. If we got to 12 trillion, it would bring us down to 60. So if we want to not violate that, and remember these two vectors right here, these two candles are vectors. If we want to not violate that, we'd have to pump all the way to 240K on Bitcoin. That's why I say chances are one of these things are going to break, right? Either we're getting less than a 70% retracement, or we're breaking that election day sort of metric that we've been able to count on this whole time. Our blow off top can literally be anywhere, it just depends on how hard they're going to. For me, we can't even think about this 12 trillion unless Trump signs that SBR in his first 100 days and we make our first purchase. If he just signs the SBR and we don't make our first purchase and it's just on paper, but all we did was move the Bitcoin we already have into a reserve, then I think we come down underneath the 200K, still above the 125 base case, but not quite the 12 trillion.
If dominance continues upward while all of this potentially happens, you can divide those numbers almost by 2.
Yeah.
Bitcoin needs
Matt, you have to
so
make allotment, Matt, for the rest of the alts too, because it's not just Bitcoin, right? That's total market cap. My bad, Zusi, I didn't mean to step on you.
Total is at 3 trillion right now, or 3 point something. It's above 3 trillion. Like
Yeah.
if it just doubles 6 trillion, Bitcoin would do a 2x.
No, that's not how it works. Because we still have.
It's 60% in Bitcoin, so you need.
If dominance stayed where it's at right now, yeah.
Yeah.
But we have to take that into
Now,
consideration.
if it comes to
as well.
70%, I think in that scenario where you go to 200K, you'd see dominance rise to 70%.
Yeah.
On the first upward push.
Yeah.
So you'd end up with 70% of market cap. So it's not 6 trillion; it's more like 7 trillion. Like so you could get 7 trillion market cap with 70% dominance and Bitcoin at 200K. That kind of seems to.
Nah, it isn't. It isn't easy at all, bro. Right, just basic calculations to come up with rough estimates. My take profits aren't based on numbers. My take profits are based on time. I'll be out of the market August, September, October 2025, no matter what the top is.
Okay, maybe 8 trillion. Just another 2x Bitcoin. That's all we need.
I mean, let's just go to total, right? Because we don't only get diminishing returns on Bitcoin, right? We get diminishing returns on the expanse that we get on total in general. So let's take it from our last We were at 700 trillion. I mean, 700 billion, if I remember roughly, at the top of 2017. Yeah, 729 billion was total market cap. We ended up at 3 trillion, right? So basically a 4.5x on total. But the problem is that the year before that, we got 7,600%, right? So we obviously have diminishing returns here, right? To say the least, or else we would have pushed total up to $72 trillion. So if we're working off of, excuse me, if we're working off of the diminishing returns thesis and we run that forward and we say, okay, we were at 3 trillion and you have people telling you we're going to 10 trillion. Okay, it's possible. It's possible that we don't get diminishing returns, but that's going to take something that we didn't have before, which is the SBR. If the SBR doesn't come in, I'm not comfortable with reaching for that. That's why I say that 6 to 8 trillion, maybe a 1x on total, you know, or a 1.5x on total, or 2.5x on total, I should say, is more what we should be sort of pushing for, especially when we're coming up against the end of the market here. Right? The most explosive part, the part that we got robbed in last time, for the most part, right? If you didn't get out when you should have. But there's not a lot of time left. So I would love to sit here and fantasize about a 20 trillion, 40 trillion market cap, but got to try to keep it realistic. I appreciate it, brother. Squid Games 2. I don't know. Remember Squid Games 1, bro? When Squid Games 1 came out, when the meme came out and everybody was buying it, I was like, bro, did nobody watch the movie? Like, we all watched the series on Netflix, right? We all know that only one person makes it out with the money. Everybody else dies. So when it rugged, I was like, okay, I don't know. There could be money to be made in it, bro. The thing about Squid Games, if you're going to get into it, just know you might be the one that breaks the cookie. You know? If you happen to get the umbrella cookie, shit happens. Definitely don't go too heavy, bro. These things should be fun. If you're playing around with memes, it shouldn't. If you get completely wrecked and lose everything you put into it, it shouldn't keep you up at night. Right? It's a fun thing to do while the market's moving. Take advantage of some speculation.
Sure. Thank you.
What I'm really watching for is that dominance doesn't break out of this. The dominance doesn't break out of this bull flag with Bitcoin going in the wrong direction. We can get that recovery today, then dominance is free to go up and and hit that resistance for us. But we don't want Bitcoin to drop while that's happening.
There's still a lot of alts that haven't reached their ceiling. You know, the same way during bear market they reach a floor. Alts also need to reach their ceiling. I mean, there are plenty that I think reach their ceiling, and are probably just gonna continue sideways there, maybe dump, whatever. But with the other alts that didn't reach their ceiling, those could maybe help dominance come down. Otherwise, I think the current trend is just going to continue, which is Wall Street money buying Bitcoin, pumping it more than else. At least for your first stop of the bull market, the one around 6-7 trillion. If it happens, I would expect high Bitcoin dominance when that one happens.
I mean, to be fair though, let's look at dominance. Like,
And it might already have happened here too. I don't really know.
You know, when I said alt season in November 20th, not very popular, but you got to understand that when we look back on the macro at this, like not now, I know what it feels like now. The problem is that everybody thinks that when alt season starts, it's just rockets from that second gone, but that's not really how it works. But when we go back 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, to figure out where Bitcoin dominance topped out, there's a very good chance that it already has, right? That's what we're sort of following here, these lower highs. Now, if we pop and keep going and break, then I'll be wrong. You know, then alt season hasn't started yet. We're seeing something different this year. But if you look at where we topped out at, where we should have topped out at, which is that golden pocket from the last cycle, right?
It's also an SR, it's a range.
Yeah.
But don't forget, if you get admitted back in the range, you're back in the range.
That's
you could
true.
expect the top of the range.
That's true.
All while Bitcoin is going up, alts will do fine, even if dominance rises to 70%. Just need some good news in this world, like peace, which will dump weapon companies, but it could pump crypto, actually.
Kind of what we're all waiting for, best. Waiting to see if we're putting in a bottoming formation here that's going to clear some liquidations at that basically double bottom from our last deviation. Right? Now, let me go to a different time frame for you. Kind of the line in the sand right now.
It's the 6th time we are here.
Yeah.
By the way, not the first.
So you said your liquidation is at 9030. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I kind of expect to come down and grab these. I think all we're doing is really building alongside liquidity here. We're already starting to see 100x's pile up. These guys are running really close to price. And we know what happens when you tempt market maker that much, right? Like on the 5 minute, let me see. Yeah, see, look at these guys. These guys weren't here before. We had got rid of all the 100x's underneath that double bottom, or that old double bottom, I should say. And all that was left were these 50x's. Now we've got the purple 50, I mean the 25x's. Now we got the purple 50x's, the 100x's. If this starts to look too sweet down here, or meaning if this gets thicker than the top, right? If there's more money to be made by coming back down than coming up to grab these guys, they won't hesitate to make that move. The problem is that your stop loss or your liquidation is literally right at the end of the 50x's here, so.
But it's supply against demand. If more people press buy than sell, the market maker shouldn't have too much incentive to go dump price.
Well, it's not just supply and demand, it's enough supply and demand to actually move price. Because there's buying and selling going on right now. There's plenty of supply and demand. People are buying and selling. It's just not going anywhere. What's actually going to make that push up and give market maker the incentive to match a trade is if there's a bag of money at the end of it. Like if the target is richer than the current range. Target rich environment. Think of it like that.
Well, I don't know if 3,000 Bitcoin is enough, but kind of what you need.
You gonna buy some? Oh, I thought you were about to buy 3,000 Bitcoins. Like, I don't know if this is gonna be enough, but I'm gonna do my part.
No, you need to sell another 3,000. I mean, we just sold 3,000 Bitcoin, and yeah, it did a new low, but that's all.
Let's put the tape on. Let's pay attention.
It's not that crazy. Bitcoin is down 3%.
Just look at the tape for a second so you could see what I mean. Like, it's not even very many whole Bitcoin buys here.
Small amounts, right?
Yeah. So to move price in this sort of environment, there has to be a target. It could stay at this level but people can start longing, and it'll give that gas to come down, because those are market buys that
Yeah.
have to happen to the top and the
Yeah.
bottom once those liquidations get hit. So it's like
It's just that
artificial buy pressure that you can create.
no, but open interest increasing with people reopening trades one-sided is not always a temptation for people to go rectum. It's also a good
Hey,
reaction to a
language,
level that no, it's also a
language,
good
brother.
reaction.
We're on YouTube. Jesus.
It's also it's also a good it's a good sign for a level to play or not. Like you want other
Yeah,
players to do the same as you too sometimes.
yeah, for sure.
But you, in general, you don't want to be where everybody trades, of course. But like when you take a trade, you also want, yeah, I'm okay. If I buy on spot, all good. If other people are at the same level are longing with me on leverage.
If my
And
liquidation
market
is
maker can try to fight that if he wants to.
if my liquidation is at 89,
But
I welcome the 100x's piling up underneath price. If my liquidation is at 91 and I was the only one here before, and now all of a sudden there's degens above me and it's filling up and it's getting crowded, then that's when you start to worry, right? Because maybe you weren't enough of a target to come get, but now here come everybody else, you know?
This is exactly what I was saying earlier. Obviously, we've had the fast drops kind of going sideways-ish, and longs are coming in now, but not actually affecting price.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what you alluding to, Dbloc, is that, yeah, likelihood is they're going to sweep those longs first.
It's a
Plus also as
simple
well,
cost
Zeusy, to your
benefit
point
analysis.
with open interest. You want open interest, you want volume, and you want price moving. You want price moving as well. So
yeah, exactly.
the thing is with now on low volume, you can see it's not doing a hell of a lot. So
yeah, volume is low, yeah, which is odd, right? You would
so
expect
kind of
more
the
volume.
for me, it's just the volume is out. So if you had open interest, price going in the way of open interest, and also volume, that's when price
Yeah.
moves.
We're getting some
efficiently,
aggressive.
kind of by my standard.
We're getting
So
some
tell me
aggressive participants here slowly.
what does Wyckoff say about your retest on low volume?
I know the volume should be higher if you're in
No, it shouldn't.
accumulation.
No.
It should be higher at the bottoms.
No.
But when the accumulation, it's also a sign that the accumulation is coming to an end.
Exactly. Your last retest should be on lower volume than the first ones.
Exactly.
So
That's a sign that
we're
the
at
bags are
6th
getting
year.
filled. Everybody's ready to go.
Volume, from
like,
what I understand, also decreases before you get the move, before you get the manipulation move, or the whatever, the wave or the spike. Or
Yeah, you manipulate on low volume because it's easier to get your intended sort of move out of it.
No, I had reason to believe he accumulates on low volume, and then obviously when bigger volume comes in, that's when you move.
Yeah, but as like, so if your intent is to move Bitcoin price, like if your intent is to send a wick through support signaling short, if your intent is to move price in any direction, it's best to do that on low volume. That's why you see the manipulation come in when the volume sort of dies down. But yeah, accumulate on
those secondary tests during phase B, they're supposed to be on lower and lower volume, right? So
well, it's because it makes sense though when you think of how the accumulation works, right? Towards the end of the accumulation, the volume should be decreasing. If your volume is the same as it's been on the last hits on accumulation, then the chances are you're not done with this range yet, right?
So wait, is this a bullish sign in the end or a bearish one?
It depends. It's either getting to the end of the, for me it's bullish, because for me it tells me that when we were sitting here,
there's less and less people who want
the
to
volume we
transact
had here, the volume we had here, yeah, yeah, everybody that had their buys sitting in 90s, which were obvious, right? It's obvious by price action. Every time we've come down, we've filled orders. It's less at this point than it was here and here and here, and it's not because the interest is less, because these bags are packed. So now what you have to do is
Yet
you
the
have to
difference between
what you have to do to get that pump up, if you're not going to get the pump up with the volume, right? If the buyers that are waiting here to go aren't going to be the ones that push price, the way you end up pushing price is you end up faking it. So you've got this big head and shoulders here. You pop down, everybody goes short. Clear this liquidity. Everybody goes short. Pops back up, holds support, pulls off. All of these guys exit their positions and chase. And that's what gives you that parabolic move. These guys coming to their senses and realizing, oh shit, they did it again. We got front run. Now we got to buy higher.
that volume is just low because Jimmy Carter died.
Rest in peace, Jimmy.
And you'll get a volume increase if you eat 90k. You know.
Yo, 100 years old is a flex. That's like the goal right there. Hopefully AI can push that forward in our lifetime, but let's just say 100 years old is the goal, man. 100 years old and you got to be president? Listen, can't nobody tell you shit.
And healthy old.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. You got to 100 and you weren't bedridden for the last 30 years. Like, you were actually up and about. Yeah, once we start getting into short squeeze territory, we have to get back above this SR flip before we really get into short squeeze territory. 96. But once we get up here.
But no, the problem with short squeeze is you need people to open shorts.
Well,
even shorts are closing here.
We'll see. We'll
People
see
are
how
closing
many
their
of
shorts.
these guys closed. Or how many of these guys close.
Okay,
Short
those
squeeze
didn't.
is normally driven by spot buying though as well.
Well,
You have
need
spot
negative
buying and
funding
you have
rates
leverage
and
chasing, and then obviously that.
Yeah, our liquidations cause forced
that
spot
usually
buys on
triggers.
market, right? Our short squeeze liquidations
Yes.
will cause these guys to force buy on market to cover.
Buyback, yeah.
There's bigger things at play than liquidating people who shorted and longed in the last 48 hours here, in my opinion. It's not about neither shorting squeeze, neither chasing downward or upward. It's not about that. It's about the uptrend.
It's a range. We're just in a range, guys. There's really nothing complicated about the move down. The move down was broadcasted by the move up. That was broadcasted by the move down. That was broadcasted by the move up. When we had this double bottom and this double top, that set the range. We were saying it here. Like here,
For
I
me,
said
there's
it.
no like until we go up to 99.5 there, maybe we can develop another short squeeze. Yeah. But like a short squeeze from here, nah.
No, it's not from here. Like I said, it's
People
above.
TP
You
on
can
the
see it.
shorts.
It's above the SR flip. It's above this SR flip. You don't have really any chance of even enjoying any sort of a short squeeze until you get above 95, 90. This is where we get into that territory.
Long liquidations, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Short liquidation.
But that's no, to the other side.
Yeah,
You
we've
would
got.
squeeze longs.
This is what I'm waiting for here. Waiting for that last
But even
sweep
that,
down.
it's so
And mind you,
bearish.
it has nothing to do with the fact that these liquidations stop here. Like this is. I'm not just. This whole thesis isn't based off of liquidity levels by Leviathan. Just want to be clear. It just happens to stop at the same point that we're looking at. But the books and everything match. Way too much confluence. Not to mention personal rules, right? Macro support, high FUD day, that's a personal rule for me. That supersedes TA for me.
It'll develop into a short squeeze with bearish news, people having shorted and all. Yeah.
The rejection here is
I
what'll
can
do
see
it.
that happen.
The rejection here is what'll do it. Mark my words. We'll come up.
97.5 now.
Yeah. Whether we do this move first or not, it fits for both, right? When we
It's
come back
exactly
up,
the same thing as last time if you do that.
yeah. When we come back up here and we reject, this is gonna get. I mean, yeah, people are gonna short the hell out of this, and then we'll catch support at some point,
I'm not
and
that
then
sure
that's where
because
our
look at what
short
happened
squeeze.
last time. I'm not that sure. It could be even higher because you know what happened last time, right? Like surely people are gonna remember.
Look at this
It's
SR
exactly the
flip
same
though.
setup. It's,
I know, but I just don't think we get over this in one go. I don't think our first attempt has never sent us. Anytime that we've hit this SR flip, it's never been on the first go that we actually break. Never. And
well,
with
it's
the
the middle of the
sentiment,
range, you know. It's the
that's what I
midpoint of
mean.
the
It's
range.
it's of this whole range. It's basically your point at your POC. So people will
And the
short the
middle in
POC.
percentage.
Yeah. People will definitely short the POC. That's future tripping though, right? That's just me thinking, what do we have to do to get this to the level where the short squeeze sends us not only to the top of the range, but past the top of the range. A true short squeeze, right?
Are you above 108 for a true short squeeze?
That's what I
any
mean.
short, any low leverage short will have its stop loss above 108,
Yeah.
even if you shorted right now.
That's what I mean. If we just make it up to the top of the range nice without any sort of scary sort of corrections that cause this to get out of control, then we'll just end up at the top of the range again and you know, take another 7% up, another 7% down, whatever the size of the range is. 7%, right? For the most part. Yeah.
Well,
8%.
now that we did a lower low, it's a bit bigger.
Yeah. This is what sort of day traders, weekly swing traders live for, this sort of thing. You've got to exploit this when you see it. Yeah, the data tomorrow will probably be good for the dollar. It'll probably pump the dollar. Means we'll see how crypto takes it.
So do you think NFP is going to be good? What were they looking at for NFP?
Yeah, I think we're gonna at least meet expectations. And apparently, good news. We're in the part of the cycle where good news is bad news for us. Good economic data equals bad price action.
Yeah. Previous month was 227. They're forecasting 164.
That's a big difference.
That's actually, now that I'm looking at it, that's interesting.
I don't know what
That
you're
leaves a
talking
little
about.
bit of wiggle room.
Mm.
That leaves a little bit of wiggle
yeah.
room for coming under.
Because of how ADP came out earlier in the week, I'm thinking it's going to be up on forecast. So Jolts, ISM, or ADP non-farm came in lower, but unemployment came up. Yeah, my gut feeling says NFP comes in lower than forecast.
Pedro, thanks
why,
for
but
coming
that's
through,
just-
brother. No problem. Make sure you subscribe and come back. We're here every day. My bad, brother. I mean to step on you.
We have unemployment rates at 4.2. I gotta hope that comes in on forecast as well. I think next week's the big one. Next week is the interest rate, whatever you call it, CPR.
Yeah, and then we
CPR
go
and
into
CPR.
a good sort of buy month, right?
CPR, retail. Yeah, so next week's probably the news week. Although, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of biased to just say all these numbers are fudged. They've always have been.
Bro, look at the revisions that they've did on some of these numbers within a week's time. That shit is almost criminal. Like, it's not just small mistakes. You know what I mean? They send the market on one direction, pricing something in, and then they whip it around, and it's always beneficial to them somehow. The mistake is always beneficial, you know?
Yeah, I need to go on the other calendar. I'm on Forex Factory. But yeah. How is this doing that now? I would think that I think NFP is going to drop us. I think that's probably the final. So what? Only thing that I've kind of seen of late is that the news or all these readings can be erratic. There's no consistency, or there's been some consistency, but not enough.
No,
It's just all over the
price-wise,
place.
not price-wise, but for making people act, it works.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean price is gonna move down or up, but just you got bearish news, people press sell.
I can't remember where it was.
Like,
Was it Tuesdays?
It's a bit stupid to say, but overall today, people press to sell.
To hear, thanks for the sub, brother. I appreciate that.
I guess you can see it in price, but sometimes you can't see it in price. That's why it's interesting.
Yeah, for me as well. I come from Forex. I started on Forex and indices before I moved to crypto.
So
And
much better over here. Huh?
yeah,
I
I
used
can
to
trade
hate that
7 days a
grind,
week if I
bro.
want.
Funded? You were
not
doing
have
funded accounts and shit like that on Forex, or you were trading your own account?
I've got 2 Apex accounts still
Yeah.
that kind of tick over.
I do not miss that shit.
But yeah, I do the odd trades here and there. Mainly swing trade. Kind of go do longer trades because yeah.
Do you find Forex to be more or less volatile than crypto?
Oh my
in
god.
your experience?
For a period
more
last year, I
leverage.
was absolutely getting rinsed on Euro because Euro used to be my asset. And yeah, I used to do well on that. And then, yeah, XE just decided to do its own thing. And that's, yeah.
This was my problem.
Although gold, if you catch the swings, can be really good. And then something like I don't know how loud that is. Yeah. Gold is obviously the one to catch the swings on. So I like swing trading gold. But I actually closed one out a while back. I think I had like got in at like 2,500 and only closed, like 2,800? I don't know what's gold price now. Can't remember.
Yeah, it's a lot of quick moves on Forex. The one thing for a person like me is I dig too deep. You can lose yourself in Forex. Like with crypto, cool. You want to watch Bitcoin. You want to look at the alts, watch Bitcoin. You want to see what Bitcoin's going to do, watch the Dixie. You want to see what the Dixie's going to do, watch the basket of currencies around it. And that's basically where you end. Throw in a little bit M2 money supply and global liquidity cycle. And you basically got all your, your corners taken care of. With Forex, does not stop there. You might be looking into weather patterns to find out if wheat in a certain area is going to be low that month because of the effect that it's going to have. I mean, like, you can go really deep when it comes to Forex, or you can trade it just purely by technicals. One thing I do give to Forex is that they expose the market maker for me, and I'll always have Forex to thank for that.
Yeah, and that's the method. Basically with the vectors, the peak formations. So it works. Scalping at least the kind of the vectors and the recoveries and the reversions is can be fairly simple or kind of easy money if you have the strategies down. Specifically on, I used to do that on Euro. Plus also as well, used to and still scalp DAX, German index. It was quite decent as well. It's all just time, depending on the times of the day.
What kind of leverage are you using? What kind of leverage are people using on Forex?
Apex is 50x, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's 50 on currencies, 20 on indices, I think, from what I can remember.
I know that the Forex guy, and he says they wait for the Bollinger Bands or just the volatility to drop, and then just grind the trend, because the Forex, unlike crypto, is so volatile it can flip. But if you can find a trend in Forex, you can just grind it on leverage. But I don't know.
If I see CVD positive, I'm gonna pop champagne. He's still at -2. Come on, you can do it. I just want a screenshot.
Where's that CVD from, Zusi? Because currently,
But
current-
spot USDT Binance, it's negative. You know, it
Some
just
brokers,
reset because
some
it's
brokers
daily.
on Forex, by the way, offer up to 2000x.
We're still pumping on negative, but
so on Bybit, we are currently on the perps pair for CVD negative 70 million.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
heavy short, heavy short.
Yeah, I know.
For the whole day. So
The volume
basically
is
from
low,
daily
but the
open to now.
imbalance is huge, and price should have dropped much more. But it's signature that we hit those buy limits that.
That means
Well,
that
actually,
somebody's wrong.
on Binance.
Well, we didn't fill them, but we
that
filled
means
a
that
few.
somebody's wrong. Somebody's making the wrong bet here. You know.
Well, it got absorbed again.
Yeah.
But price did make a lower low, right? So not fully absorbed. But... I mean, I wasn't joking when I said go ahead, dump 1,000 Bitcoin, you won't move it. That's kind of what's happening.
Binance has got negative 900 million.
You can
spot
dump 1,000
CVD
Bitcoin.
or different
move that
perspective
much.
of CVD to what you're looking at, Zusi. But basically, there's been just on Binance alone, there's been 900 million of spot
Yesterday,
selling today.
it's just for fun. But yesterday, when the daily reset, I was able to take a screenshot where it was positive because it's very rare lately. Just doesn't last. But today, I hope I'm gonna manage to. Like, it's just even for a second. Where do you look up CVD?
I'm looking on Trading Lights in an order flow software. So I'm just
So it's
kind
the
of
same
gauging
on.
what
It's the same everywhere, no, basically.
It's a bit different, but basically it will just gauge. I'm just looking at the daily open to now, what the difference is, what the CVD opened at to what it's currently sitting at. Yeah, negative 900.
Oh, it resets at
on
the daily,
Binance.
right? So
yeah. So yeah, you just gauge it on the whole day from when daily open was to now. Well, obviously, it's almost
that's a
daily open to
mistake.
daily open.
It's interesting.
Daily open
you
to
having
daily open now.
kind of mistake to reset it the daily, because you got to remember where you're coming from, and I can keep
All I'm
track a
doing
few
is I'm
days just
measuring the
in my head,
difference
but after I
between
forget.
what it was yesterday to now what it is now. So this is saying negative 2405. What was that on Binance?
Yeah, Binance was at minus 2,400. I screenshotted it to remember tomorrow, because you need to see 2,400 market buy now, and we'll see how much.
Binance spots, Binance
Liquidity
perpetuals.
spot. As if price keeps pumping back up without people having bought. And we're at the 6th rotation.
I don't think Asia's going to like this price action. I think they're going to sell.
Oh, that's the trend.
Yeah,
They're already selling. Look, we're negative again, right? Like, we're not positive right now. So people are selling more. But
Yeah,
someone is marking price up. It's just limit supporting a rise.
All right, guys, I gotta peel off for a bit to get some food. I'm running on fumes right now. Like, yo, why do I feel so crazy right now? And then I was like, oh, maybe because you haven't had anything to eat.
Yeah. Thanks for your input, Dbloc.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Good chat.
Bon appetit.
Nice to hear from you again, Dbloc. Chat to you soon.
Yeah, I'll be back, bro. I'm gonna go eat something real quick, and then I'll keep my eyes on this because I'm
you
still.
never come back from eating, Dbloc. It's never happened.
It's because what happens is then you get the itis. Like, no, like I'll eat and then I start looking into research and shit.
Peace,
but
brother.
I will.
Enjoy.
You guys just eat slow, I think.
It's yeah.
I mean, fast.
Zusi is going crazy here.
What's wrong with Zusi? Wings, huh?
Nothing. I'm happy because more people press market buy than sell in the last 1 minute.
Yeah, it looks decent. I really do think we do take this swing down. If we don't, great. I'd be happy to be wrong with that. But it'll take some time to play out. I'll be back.
We
You saying?
we won't know until tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, I mean, for right now, like I said, I'm playing it as midweek reversal Thursday. We'll see. It's not. We still got a little bit, couple hours left in the day to tie it in. All right, I'll be back.
Frick weeks. Anybody still on weeks in here?
I do demo on it.
Yeah, I look in my account and I don't know what I'm seeing, but apparently I bought virtuals yesterday. It was $5 worth, but I don't remember doing that at all. And it was there yesterday in the morning. So I'm like, what? Like I
Maybe
was
on
in
airdrop?
school. Like I didn't make
Airdrop.
that purchase at all. I don't know why it's in there.
Could be an airdrop.
Airdrop? No, it says it was an order. And it said it was an order that was
Well,
canceled, and it said there was one that was filled. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not messing with this anymore. I feel
that's
like
a
it's going
bit
to be another
scary
Mexi
because
situation.
that's a bit scary because there's two possibilities, right? The first one is that you don't remember putting that order. The second one is even worse because it would mean someone else has access to your account to put that order. And the third one, which is very not likely, is that the exchange is having fun putting orders in your place. That's probably not the case either. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I think option one is the most likely.
When you say Mexi, did something actually happen other than the US
No,
people?
no. I don't want to get
I
caught up in a
never.
mess like that anymore. Especially with the money that I'm dealing with now. I just don't. I'm not trusting it.
Oh, it sucks when you've actually got the money on the platform and shit. Yeah, I pulled out once, freaking out, and then dumped back in, and it's very costly.
It's kind of funny. I still have a little bit. I have like $200 still on Mexi, and it's just sitting there. So they're saying you need to get off of it, but I don't really think they give a shit. Excuse my French.
Get off of it, it's just a lie.
Yeah, I'm trusting Binance US right now over weeks. I don't trust weeks now that you know who was promoting it, and you know the situation, and maybe he's not making as much money, and now they're gonna start cutting the budget somewhere. Now they're trying to make some positions on my end and try to take my money. I don't know.
It's probably that deep. Probably is.
Hey, bro, I'm not putting anything past any of this.
Oh,
if
hell
it
no.
makes really profitable positions, you should just sit and watch and then take.
Yeah, I'm taking my high conviction plays off, and I'm gonna try and buy them on Binance US. The order book is so thin on Binance US. It's still for Theta. I don't know if any guys are in Theta, but the order book is so thin for Binance US and on weeks. I hit sell and I see a huge volume spike on the like 5 minute candle. I just see a big red bar. I'm like, oh, that's actually me. Wow, I didn't know I could make it.
That's what you want on an exchange.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, fuck that. Excuse my French.
You shoot yourself in the foot every time you trade.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I'm using limit orders because if I would never use a market order on a platform like this. Imagine Theta's at $2.11. Imagine they fill me at like $1. Like that would be hell.
So there's nobody trading on Binance US then, no?
You can trade on Binance US, yeah, but it's very for theta. It's hard to
Theta,
find
yeah.
theta on like
Can you
typical
on ramp
US
off ramp?
exchanges.
Can you on ramp or on off ramp on Binance?
Yeah, they just changed it a little bit. You can still on ramp, off ramp, but I'm not sure if you can do it in US dollar. You can USDT, you can send that out, send it in, but I'm not sure about US dollar.
Well,
Like you have to, you
on
can
ramping
on ramp
is for me.
USDT. You can,
It's with fiat. It's not with stable coins. But yeah, you can
yeah,
transfer stable coins always. I mean, otherwise, it's not a crypto exchange. Right?
yeah, and Binance US deposits always take forever. So like I'm sweating right now. It's weird because weeks they don't let you withdraw theta or some other businesses that I have. So if I wanted to have theta on a different platform, I'd have to sell to USDT, withdraw that USDT to another platform, and then buy theta on that platform if they have it. So it's a whole hassle.
Well,
I
they don't have
remember
enough
that,
to let people take it off the exchange. They
Yeah,
probably don't
yeah,
have.
that's what it
They
seems
don't have
like. They don't have
none.
enough liquidity for you to just pull the coins off of their exchange.
They don't
it's a
have
gaming
any of it.
token. It's gaming, you know, Theta. I remember $7 or something.
I think it's a video streaming thing.
Yeah, it's like decentralized cloud and like it's like a DPIN, and they have AI
And of
and
course, they
gaming.
have
They kind of
AI.
have like all three, but I categorize it maybe as DPIN.
If you don't have AI, you're kind of screwed, right?